I want to help you achieve your goals in 2026 the fastest way possible. But I don't want you to set goals. No. What I want you to do is to establish leverage. And by leverage, I mean using less effort to achieve more results. Now, in this episode, I want to give you 4 leverage points that will help you achieve your goals faster. And by leverage points, let's just call them levers that you'll be pulling, that you'll be also working with towards working and achieving your goals. And by the end of this video, I will give you a simple worksheet that will help you 10x the amount of time or 10x the amount of speed that you'll be using to get to your goals. You will save a lot of time or energy. So the PDF down below is something that you will need, and I will teach you how to use it throughout this video. So make sure you stick around till the end. The first lever is information acquisition or learning. There's a psychological process called the Dunning-Kruger effect. So the Dunning-Kruger effect basically tells us that people tend to overestimate the knowledge and expertise in a given area. They overestimate their knowledge and expertise over a given area. Now, overestimation, or let's just call it overconfidence, forces them to act towards an ideal thing. And that acting with overconfidence typically gets them somewhere. They get them towards starting and pushing through the initial motivation to work towards it, but later on they hit something called a brick wall. They call it a brick wall, an obstacle that you'll face because there's a certain amount of knowledge or expertise that you don't have that will force you to hit a brick wall. For example, if you don't know how to work around rejections in sales, or you don't know how to work around customer experience, there's a brick wall you hit. You won't get many customer retention. You won't get many sales. People will just be rejecting you and not working towards it, because first, what I've learned in sales is sometimes people reject you, but eventually they do want to buy. It's just that they want to be that continuous, that extra push. So I think you get what I mean by that. So people tend to overestimate what they know, and that brick wall that people hit is, let's just call it failures. The failures that people hit, the constant hitting of that brick wall is something that we here are trying to avoid. We are trying to avoid wasting time, and as we've just established, time is very precious and we don't want to lose it. So what do we need to do to be able to combat this hitting of the brick wall, and this to avoid saving ourselves precious energy, mental, physical, and also emotional energy from these constant failures? We need to first underestimate what we know. Being humble is very important, and this being humble, this humility to know that I don't know everything, and I think I might be good, but I'm not that good. I might think I'm good at speech, but sometimes I stutter. Sometimes there are things I'll do. So underestimating what you know and knowing that you're imperfect is the first step to be able to combat this and be able to gain this information acquisition leverage that most people don't have, because most people are ignorant, and ignorance is the killer of so many things. Ignorance leads to death, as the Bible and also other authors have said. So the second thing is, so after underestimating what you know and being very humble about it, adopting the student mindset, the second thing is to list out all the things that you need to learn about your goal. So, for example, what is your goal right now? Maybe your goal right now is to become better at customer experience. So what are the things that you need to learn about customer experience? You need to learn about behavior psychology. You need to learn how to communicate better with your customers. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to handle customer behaviors and customer rejections. If it's sales, there's so many things you need to learn about sales. You need to learn how to communicate, how to work around rejection and stuff like that. So there's so many things that you need to learn. And after listing out all those things that you need to learn, implement the 80-20 rule. And by the 80-20 rule, I mean for the 10 hours of work that you put in a week towards your goal, make sure you put in at least 2 hours of learning. This is very important, because when you learn and when you implement at the same time, it tends to stick to your mind quite better. And the moment you're implementing and you've studied, it prepares you better for the obstacles that are going to come, and also the unknown obstacles that usually come when you're working towards an unknown ideal. Because when we're pursuing goals, we don't know what we're going to meet. We just know at the end we want to achieve this, but there's the how, there's the journey that usually comes in between there that we need to learn how to prepare for them. And there's so many brick walls, and if we can at least put down, at least if there are 20 brick walls that we're going to meet, if you're going to prepare better, if you're going to demolish, even if it's 5 brick walls, it will save us a lot of time and precious energy, unlike that person who's trying to force themselves through all those brick walls. And to really emphasize all this, there is a quote from Charlie Munger, a partner of the most influential and also powerful investor in the world. I believe you all know Warren Buffett. He said this: "You don't have to be brilliant, you only have to be a little bit wiser than the other guys, and that's not terribly hard." The second leverage point is time leverage. I want you to think about carrying water. Now, you're a household name. You're the breadwinner of the family. You're a lady or you're a man, but I think most people who are listening to this are men. Your family needs water to survive, but the cleanest water source that you can find is 2 kilometers away. That's a very huge problem. So you can either, number one, carry water using buckets back and forth, which is going 2 kilometers and coming back 2 kilometers, which is basically covering every single day 4 kilometers. Or you can build a pipe 6 feet under that will carry that water back and forth continuously with minimal to no effort. Which one are you choosing? Definitely the pipe for sure, which is the smartest thing to do. Now, I want you to think of that water as your goal. Most people tend to carry water in buckets, or to just put it into a better perspective, people usually do things continuously which can otherwise be systemized or automated to work by themselves or to use less effort. For example, if you own a brand like me, or you're trying to build a brand just like me, you would basically be writing scripts, or let me just give you an example of what I do. I have 6 pieces of content to be putting out every single week. It can be difficult to be scripting every single day, every single week, and also shooting every single day, every single week. So what I do, instead of scripting every single day and shooting every single day, what I do is I take the first 2 weeks, maybe of a month, and script out everything. Prepare the short list, prepare the people I'm going to work with, prepare dates, prepare schedules, prepare the scripts, and also at the same time I'll take 1 week to at least shoot 12 pieces of content that will give me time. Even if I don't do anything that week, I still have something to post, so it will prepare me. So those 3 weeks initially of not doing anything will save me 7 weeks of continuously doing the same thing. The reason most people don't take advantage of this time leverage opportunity is because the initial effort of establishing that system is quite hard and also time consuming. There's so many activities that need to be automated, and they will force you to slow down. Now, with the perspective of water, if you're going to be building the pipe for 6 kilometers from your home now back to the water source, it will take around 3 months. So in those 3 months, you'll be needed to work extra, carrying water back and forth 4 kilometers, and also working on the pipe itself, and also carrying water to be able to mix the cement and stuff like that, and also digging, digging, and also burying the pipe, fix it. It's so much work. So those 3 months are what typically people avoid. Scripting, shooting, and all those stuff, doing all that stuff for the first 3 initial months is something very difficult. But if you do that, that is what separates you from the rest. That's what gives you the edge. And that's the leverage that I'm teaching you right now, which is time leverage. So there are 5 questions that I created in the PDF below that will give you the ability or the opportunity to be able to spot these time leverage opportunities. But this is one thing that you can use to be able to spot time leverage opportunities in or during your work. Ask yourself this: do I do this activity more than twice? If yes, create a template for it, or create a step-by-step guide for it to be able to cut out the guesswork, because guesswork is something that we usually do, and it does not save time. It really kills a lot of time. And if you just create a process that we ourselves or the people we're going to be working with can follow, it will really help out a lot, because we don't want to be training people we're going to be working with every single day, or we're going to be not putting out the same amount of output the same amount of quality of output that we want. We just want the same quality of output every single day. So we have to create a system for it and also save time, because time is very precious. And also at the same time, if you have frequent questions your customers ask you, what you need to do is to create an FAQ, or frequent answered questions, frequent asked questions catalog in maybe your app or your website, or a paper you can be giving people when they're entering the conference room, or maybe your business building or whatever. Be creating that, and also let them answer those questions by themselves. And whenever it's time to answer the questions which initially couldn't be found in the FAQ, that's when you can consult them, but it will save you a lot of time. So there are so many things you can find down below in the PDF that will help you do that exact thing, to be able to create that leverage point for you, and it will really save you a lot of time. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Be able to create that time leverage opportunity. Sorry, I'm skipping over my words there. I have not been speaking like this for a while. So the third leverage point is priming, or environment manipulation. So there's a quote that goes like this: success is not about trying hard. Success is about creating an environment which makes the right choices very easy to do, and also the wrong ones very difficult to do. So what this quote basically means is that your surroundings 90% of the time defines the actions or the moves you're going to do later on. If your goal is to go for a run the next day, or to go for a run every single day and cover 5 kilometers, the best strategic thing to do to your environment is to place your running shoes and your running clothes as the first thing that you see when you wake up. It will prime, or it will stimulate your mind that, hey, we need to go for a run. It will give you a higher chance of going for that run, rather than placing your running shoes or your running clothes in the wardrobe, somewhere you can't see, somewhere you have to put in some initial effort to be able to do it. So what we need to do is just to cut off that initial effort. We want to make it easy for us to be able to do what we need to do. Now, manipulating your external areas in life, for example, the music that you listen to, the content you scroll, the movies that you watch, the conversations that you have, when you choose them strategically, they can act as a stimulus. Hence, when you're exposed towards them, for example, when you're exposed to a certain type of music, it will make working out much better and enjoyable. Or when you're exposed to a certain stimulus, it will help you, for example, when you listen to a certain type of music, it will help you focus more when you're studying, or it will hype you up for a public speaking event that you have. So there's so many things in the PDF that will be given to be able to help you establish this leverage point of priming or environment manipulation. So make sure you check it out down below. Now, the last but not least is perception control leverage. Now, perception control is the ability to choose how you interpret reality. So by reality, I mean the events that you but the events that you usually find around yourself. Maybe there's a family member who's talking to you, something like that. There's an obstacle, there's a problem that's coming your way. There's time, there's effort, there's initial problems that usually go around and stuff like that. So that's basically reality. I think we all know what reality is. Now, most people believe that reality shapes them. They believe that fate has already been decided, but high performers understand that they shape reality through their interpretation, or through how they see things. Does that make sense? High performers understand that they shape reality through interpretation, or how they view things. With a better perspective for the world around you, just to put it into a better perspective, you can determine how failure affects you. For example, you can view rejection as data. You can make better strategic choices with this data from rejection, because when you're rejected, you ask yourself, why did I get rejected? What is the thing that I could have done better? With a better perspective, that is. For example, while others are going to events, maybe to have small talk, get ladies, get drunk, and also free food, you can also see it as the same way, but at the same time, you'll see it as an opportunity to be able to build relationships with certain people. You'll be able to connect, you'll be able to brainstorm different ideas, and be able to make yourself a better person in the end of the run, because your perspective is much wider. There's a lens that you've placed in your mind that will help you filter out the things that you don't want to do, and also filter in the things that you really want to do, the things that will really help you get to what you want. And what we want right now is to be, to be better, to get to our goals faster. Now, there's so many ways you can be able to spot you can be able to build this leverage for perception control. Now, there's this one question. It's super important. I use it myself, and I'll give you an example of that. There's this one question that you need to continuously ask yourself when you're establishing this perception control leverage, which is, how can this opportunity or this problem or this feeling or this setback serve me? How will this situation serve me? The very important thing to underline is serve. How will it serve me? For example, I'm in my final year of university, and university isn't very, very easy, especially when you build up the ranks. But I had a very bad incident in university with regards to my grades, and I think everyone who is in university can be able to relate to that. So I had my marks incomplete. They were missing marks somewhere. Apparently I didn't do the coursework because there was something I was shooting, and it really messed me up in big time. But what I did is, I didn't see it as an opportunity to panic. I didn't panic, not at all. What I saw it as a training session. I will be doing much more difficult things. I will be taking on much more difficult conversations than the one I'm going to have with maybe the HOD, the head of departments, and also the dean. There are so many difficult opportunities, so many difficult conversations I'll be having. So if I get this one right, it basically means I'm being trained to become better to handle all those things, because I, as an aspiring filmmaker, there are so many problems I'll meet. As a content creator, there are so many problems I'll meet. As a business guy, when I want to start my business, my fitness brand, there are so many things I'm going to meet. So much more difficult than this one that I'm facing. I will take this one as an opportunity to train. If I fall down, it means I have data to be able to know what I did wrong. If I succeed, I will still have the data of what I did wrong, be able to become better, and also maybe teach others, be able to avoid it. So it all comes down to, how do you see it? How do you view this particular thing? Your perspective is super important. Perspective is very, very important. So asking yourself, how can this situation or how can this thing serve me, will really shift your mind into a mode of research. It will shift your mind towards another angle of looking for possible ways that this thing can help us feel better, because the work of the brain is to basically help you survive. Now, if we can shift that angle to help us survive in a much better way, like to establish a much happier ground or a more calm ground, to be able to know this is a problem, but how can we use it to serve us, the brain will start working for you, because most people's brains typically don't work for them. But to end this video, I want to give you a quote that really inspired the entirety of this video, from Archimedes, a Greek philosopher, mathematician, engineer, and inventor from Greece. I really love Greece. I really want to go deep into it. There are so many things I'm going to be doing in the documentaries I'm going to be making. Yeah, we're going to be making documentaries. Wow, mind-blowing. So Archimedes, a Greek mathematician and also engineer and inventor, said this particular thing that really inspired me when I was looking towards this video, or towards making this video. He said this: "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the world."